Working in this hole is not easy. The board I put up, I didn't epoxy it, but it's actually treated wood, and it shouldn't get wet up there, so it should be okay. But that's going to give me a place to mount the switch for the winch and the remote switch. So I'm trying to get this. Gotta get this switch wired up. Now the wires that were on the winch itself were not long enough to get to where I've mounted this. So I have to add a piece of wire to it. And while I was doing that, my little crimpers, I couldn't even, it had these pieces on it. And I couldn't even dent them. And I was like, fine, I'll just cut it off and solder it. And I tried to do that and I can't do it. The position where it's at, me shaking, it didn't work. So, as the idiot I am, after cutting it off, I finally remembered that I do have a set of crimpers. But unfortunately, I have already cut it off and I do not have another one. I don't have anything that size. So I cannot connect the power. I cannot extend the power. I have to extend it. I do have this end on it already, which will go to the switch. But, so yeah, I'm kind of stuck. I had to order something. So we're waiting on that. And we'll be able to put the power on. I went ahead and crimped the other wires. We're going to have to use white for power instead of red because I ran a white wire. But we do have the yellow and the blue wire. So I'm at a point where I'm shaking too much to try to do anything else today. So we're just going to call it a day. But at least, I mean, we got something done. Not sitting in the house. So I'm up here. This is one of the things I looked at before with the other windlass. I've got to put the switch right here. This plate is metal and then there's plastic behind it, and I've got to get through those. You can see where I got that drawn out right there. Somehow we got to get that cut out. Alright, so number white's going to be our power wire. We'll put the red one on the white since that's our power. So now we're going to wire this thing up. One to the side. Here's the ground. Power wire, which is our white wire, goes to center. The yellow wire is the up wire. So then our blue wire, which is kind of short, is our down wire. It's our last one. Well, we finally got our switch in there. It was like everything else. It was harder than it was supposed to be. And when I cut it out, of course, it came out small. I couldn't really get anything in there. I used a Dremel. I went through every one of the little blades I had. It's aluminum, and then there's plastic behind it. It would bind up and it just but I finally, with a hacksaw and a little grinding bit, and there's no really way to get in there, but we got it in there. So we have an anchor up and anchor down. So I got a ground, I know where that goes. So if this is sitting this way, blue would be on this side. And yellow's going to be on this side. And this is the power wire. This diagram is a little different. The way this is drawn, it shows this terminal being further over. They're not, yeah, it's just confusing with my brain working the way it is. So, this is the negative from the motor. The negative from the motor goes right through all of these to that one. Negative. This is so confusing. I wish these would have been a little bit longer. That was literally all the wire I had. So coming from the battery, so that goes to this terminal. So we got the negative from the battery, the positive from the battery. So the negative and the positive is hooked up. The negative from the motor goes to this one. Oh shoot, this is my power. That goes to that one. So, except for the power wire, which I completely screwed up, which goes to this terminal, we got it hooked up. Now, is part two. When I had that winch from the windlass from before, the flush mount, it had a switch, but the only way you could operate it would have been from back in the cockpit. To get a remote would have been like an extra $200 to try to hook a remote up into the front. So I went on eBay, and for 20 bucks I got a wireless switch. Now it has the control box that hooks to that, this remote, and this remote, so you can operate them from anywhere. Now they're not marine, of course, but in my logging winches and the stuff that I do around here, I've used these a ton in the bunch, in the rain, always, usually after storms, nasty, and they work just fine. And for 20 bucks I can buy a hell of a lot of them rather than 150 bucks. So now we're going to get this thing hooked up, but we have to change the ends. And the confusing part, which I don't understand, again, is on this page. It says up is yellow, but then on the remote it says yellow is down. So I don't understand why it would be backwards. But I read on this one, yellow is, white is out, which should be down. So yeah, I gotta figure this out. So there's my bird's nest. We'll basically have to wait till we get the power hooked up and figure out if our in and out is good on our switches and stuff, but I think we got it. So we're a couple days later. We got new fittings for our screw up. So don't know how to do this. That's not easy. It sucks trying to work in this space. It's so difficult. So it was kind of impossible to film the way this thing is set up, but right here we have the wireless controller and then our controller, and it's screwed in there. Finally, I made sure all the wires were not touching and tightened. We still may have to trade these two, which makes it nice that they're right here, because these two may be backwards, we're not sure. But it was heck getting that in there. I don't know if this is going to work, but we're going to attempt it. This is double-sided tape. These are my fuses. There we go. Got it on there. The reason I'm putting this there is my wires are right there. Plus, it's incentive not to use this as a step. It's common to want to step right there, and you don't want to do that because you don't want to crack this. Okay, so after a ton of work, we got this wired up. It's actually very quiet. So this turned into a big deal. Me feeling the way I am. I was running the wires and then installing that breaker in the back. I had to dig up every piece of wire and extra connection I had to get all that done. But it's in and it works from the dash. And what's really cool too is, like I said, it's about $150, almost too well. When you get the stuff you need, you're about $200 to get a remote for the other windlass. And I, on my logging stuff, use these cheaper ones, which are about $20, and I installed that on there. And I have this nice little keychain, and works great. I haven't tried this one yet. Yeah. So I got two different remotes, and I can work it from the dash, which makes it really easy. Because I was afraid if you're only working it from the dash, that's going to be a total pain. Because if something happens up here, you have to walk all the way up here, undo it. This way you can just take care of anything you need to. But I finally got it in, man. I've struggled. Like I said, I have some good days and some bad days, and I can only do a couple hours of a day, and I start feeling bad, and I start shaking. Like now I'm at the point where I'm shaking. I was shaking trying to connect those wires together. It makes it so difficult. But anyway, we got it done. Now it's just a matter of getting the rope. The rope that I ordered for the Lumar windlass was thicker and 100 foot, and I pretty much figured out that it won't fit on this spool. It's too big. I have the original rope, which is smaller, but it's got 20 foot of chain instead of 10. So anyway, I still got to figure out that what I did was I made me a model spool out of wood. It's about the same size, so I can roll it up. So I'll go down there when I feel better. Day after tomorrow is another chemo infusion, so we're gonna be down for a few days after that. But we accomplished something. We got the windlass in and working, and we got our hatch in. So taking a while, but we got it done. So this is what I built to see. This is built to the same dimensions as the drum, and I originally put my first rope on there. It was too thick, so I had to go back. That was the other rope was one I bought that would actually fit the windlass. This one is a little bit thinner, so we're still able to get 100, just over 100 foot on there with 20 feet of chain. So we're gonna have to install this one instead of our thicker rope. The thicker rope only has 10 foot of chain though, so that's what we're doing. So we got our rope in a bucket of water. This helps when you first roll it on to have it soaked, and then once it's on there it dries and kind of conforms to that shape, and it does help a little bit to roll it back up that way. Oh, no, I got part of it in. Let's hope this works. Whoa! Crap, this is a heavy anchor. I don't know if I have any Loctite left. But we're going to see. Oh, yeah, there's some in there. Got our Loctite. So now barely enough room here, but it worked. It's on there. Doing really good considering last night I had a dream that I tried to do this and I only got a quarter away before the fuse blew. Thankfully that didn't happen. I don't know why I dreamed that, but well. So one thing I did notice real quick when I was doing that is my switches up and down is backwards. It is right on the dash, but it is wrong on the switches. So I kind of thought I might have to, but it should be easy. All I have to do is change these two wires. That should take care of it. That's it. It works. It's all right now. So we finally got that done. Man, it's been an adventure.